Hello. Okay, waiting for some people to join. Hi, everybody. It's Lynn from Feather Song Crochet, and we are here on our Wednesday WIP Knockout. Welcome, everyone. Glad to see you here. I'm hoping that everything is working. It looks like my microphone is working. If it's not, please let me know. And what else is going on? It's a very lovely day here in central Illinois. It is sunny, less humidity, even though I think it's going up to 80, but the weather report is good today. I can tilt this a tad bit more. See my Starved Rock t-shirt. Okay. Which is in northern Illinois. It's a nice little state park. Fran. Hey, Fran from Ohio is here. Hello, Fran. How's it going? How's it holding? Sunny day too. Okay, good for you. That is always nice. Although we really do need rain here still. But it's nice to see the sun. And October 1st, yay! Beginning of the fall. Well, in my book, that used to be September 1st, but September is too hot. It's usually October and November here, and then it starts getting cold into November pretty quick. Now, Fran, remind me where in Ohio you are. Are you up near Cleveland? Are you central, more like Columbus? I'm thinking you're central. I lost my list with everybody's name on it and where they were from. So I'm just going to have to rely on my memory, unfortunately, to remember who everybody is today. So far, it's just me and Fran. Everybody come join us. Couple minutes, we'll start. 45 minutes from Cleveland in northeast Ohio. Okay. So that's kind of up in that corner, heading toward New York, I guess. Okay. Very nice. I'm trying to think. Cleveland. I think my family, when I was little, I think we drove through Cleveland on the way to maybe Niagara Falls. Not sure. But it's been a long time since I've been up that way. Now, my family is all in Cincinnati area, so I go there quite a bit. Near Kent State. Oh, I was thinking Kent State was like near Columbus. Boy, I was way off. Okay. Wow. Now, I'm assuming you were not in college when that happened, or maybe you were. No. Okay. Yeah, that was an awful thing. Of course, a lot more awful things happen now. Not to make one any more tragic than the other, but it's a shame what this country has come to. Okay, you were still in Alabama then. Okay. Alabama probably wasn't much better back in the 60s from what I've heard, unfortunately. So in a minute or two, we'll get going. We'll talk of happier things, Fran. Let's see. I'm going to read 2 chapters today in our last 20 minutes. Out of Sense and Sensibility, we're on chapters 9, so I'm going to read 9 and 10. I think I can get them both done in 20 minutes. So I'm looking forward to that. And let's see if anybody else can come on before we start our first 20-minute segment here. If not, Fran, you and I will just chat. Let's see. Get my timer ready. Oh, I think somebody's going to join us whining at the door. Yeah. There's Luna, little whiny Luna. Let's see. Let me see how many chapters there are. That's a good question. Well, here's chapter. They're in Roman numerals. That's why I'm hesitating. Let's see. That's 36. And here's chapter 45. So I'd say close to 50. So yeah, maybe we'll be a fifth of the way through then. Okay, let's start. It's 2:05. Let me hit my 20-minute timer and we'll get started. Yeah, there's a lot of chapters, but they're short. And tell me what you're working on. And then I'll leave you alone. You don't have to type anymore because I know you probably want to get stuff done too. I finished my little pink bear that I made for one of the neighbors. And now I'm working on the blue one. Today I'll be working on the blue one. One of my neighbors, her daughter's having twins, a boy and a girl. And so I'm going to be making, I made one bear. I'm going to be making the other one. She has to have them by the 11th. The anniversary crochet along. But okay, that was the same as last week, right? Because I looked her up. And it looked like, oh, it came out very nice. Oh, the one I was working, oh, thank you. Yeah, the bear came out really cute. It's a pretty simple pattern. I looked up that website on Ophelia, and it looked like she does mostly knitting. Is that not true? Or does she do knitting and crochet, maybe more of an emphasis on knitting? Or maybe I just wasn't looking in the right spot. Squares for the blanket. So it's crocheted squares. Okay. Gotcha. Kind of like the blanket I showed last week. Those kind of squares, or is it granny squares? Oh, she only does crochet. Maybe I was looking at somebody else then. Sorry. Another person has joined us, but I don't know who it is. Let's see if we can get them to say hi. As you guys know, I'm not really a granny square lover, but I do like making hexagons, which I know that's stupid because it's kind of the same thing as a granny square. But if they're modern looking, I like them. I don't like the old-fashioned flower granny squares. That's just not my style. So I don't make them unless somebody would, request one. I would probably do it for them. But that would be, different patterns for every 6 squares. Oh, so do you mix them up? Are they like 6 in a row, then a different 6, then a different 6? 2 more people have come on. How you guys doing? Whoever it is, welcome. Get some whips done right now. For Fran and I are just talking. I'm not letting her finish her whip because she's been chatting with me. That's okay if you want to lurk too. That's fine. We'll just keep chatting. Let's see. Different 6 and different colors. Okay. Oh, I bet that's going to be pretty. So it'll be like all around the blanket. That'll be nice. I haven't started on my blanket I'm going to give to the school raffle. That's not till February, so I got some time. But I think I did decide what stitch. I saw a tutorial for a stitch, and it didn't say the name of it. But it's 1 row is single crochet, and then the other row is 2 half doubles in 1 stitch. Then you skip a stitch, and then put 2 half doubles in 1 stitch, and then skip. So it's a 2-row repeat. If anybody knows what that stitch is called, please let me know because I'd like to know the name of it, if possible. Lizzie. Oh, you couldn't find the right line. Oh, that's odd. I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad you found us. How's everything in Denmark? So we have Lizzie and Fran here. Lizzie, what you working on? Fran's doing a blanket with different color squares. Everything's fine in Denmark. Okay. When does it start to get cold there? Does it start to get cold in September, or is it October usually when you to get cold month. Do you live in a big city, Lizzie, in Denmark, or a small town, rural, city, urban? I've got my globe right here in front of us here. I have a globe. I need to check and see because I can't remember. Denmark is next to Finland. My daughter would know. She's a geography nut. I think maybe Denmark is west of the other Nordic countries like Sweden and Norway. Maybe. You'll have to educate me, Lizzie. I've forgotten. Oh, another person has joined. Hello, whoever you are. Welcome. We're in our first 20-minute segment. We have 13 minutes left to go. Look at, oh, Bean. Hey there. Welcome, Bean from Georgia. I bet it's still hot down there, isn't it? We were just talking about the weather, how it's gotten nicer here in Illinois, less humidity. You're working on a baby beanie. I live in a very good city. I don't know. I'm going to have to show you guys my new chair I got as an early birthday present. I'm going to stand up so you can see it. Isn't that beautiful? It's I got it at Office Depot. Well, I didn't get it. A friend of mine bought it for me as an early birthday present. And it's a gamer chair. It's called a gamer chair. It's got these nice little ratcheted arms that go up and down. And so it's a gamer chair. They had the blue and black. The one in the store was white and black. I didn't care for that one. And they also had a red and black. But I kind of like this blue and black. And it's all cushy and comfy. It's got a little bit of lumbar support. It's very nice. Okay. Yes, it's very comfortable. I know that's the most important thing. It's got to be comfortable. Yeah, and it was only, I didn't want him to spend a whole lot of money on me, but he, because they had some office chairs there that were like $400 or $500. I'm like, no. I said, and this one was like 130, I think, but it's nice. It goes up and down and it does go back, but I wanted it to stay upright and firm, but it's very comfy. I love it. And I haven't had a new office chair in quite a while. So I was very happy to get this early birthday present. Very little town. There's cows and a lot of other wonderful things here where I live. Aw. This sounds nice. My daughter always wanted to live on a farm. She may still live on a farm one day. We're kind of suburban here where we are. We live in a cul-de-sac and a subdivision. So it's pretty suburban. So you guys, I'm working on my other little polar bear for my neighbor. It's for her grandkids, her first I was going to say child, but it's grandchildren because her daughter's having a boy and a girl. And here's the pink one that I finished for the girl. It looks white on the screen, but it's a very light pink. So that's that one. So now I'm doing a blue one for the boy. And got a ways to go. But she doesn't need it till the 11th of this month. I have a market, a vendor fair coming up Saturday. So I've been crocheting away, trying to get a lot done for the craft fair, taking inventory and making price tags and all that good stuff. It's at the same place that I went in April where I did really good. It was my first crochet market. I had been at this venue before at this mansion with my glass. And now I'm taking my crochet stuff, and I did good last time. So hopefully it's another good day. Bears like you. Thank you, Lizzie. It's a real easy pattern. It's a polar bear pattern by, I think it's called Urbaki, Urbaki. It's a free Pinterest pattern. And I made them in the chunky to make it a little bit bigger, but the original pattern that she shows you is worsted weight, I believe. So yeah, making up a little bear here. Did anybody else join us? We got Lizzie, we got Fran. You don't have to jump in if you don't want to, that's fine. Just crochet along. And yeah, the market is really fun. I like doing markets. Some people don't like doing them. I like doing them. They're a real pain to go and set up and to break down and everything, but you can make some money. I see people that I haven't seen in a while. It's kind of fun to run into people, come and say, "Oh, hi, I remember you," or "Hi, how you doing?" See my in-laws sometimes. They stop by, my husband's family. So we don't really see them that much anymore. Let's see. And so, yeah, I'm in the mansion. Now, this one, unlike the spring one that was just indoors, this one is indoor-outdoor. They have a huge lawn at this mansion, and they're going to have all kinds of vendors set up, food trucks, music. They're going to have the APL, the Animal Protective Leave there with adoptions, adopting pets. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a great turnout, and it's a free event. So, and I'm going to be, she's supposed to be sending out the maps today where people are going to be on the inside. I have a friend helping me because you have to set up either Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. And I do not want to go there at 6 a.m. on Saturday and set up. So, okay, we got 8 minutes. So I'm going to be going Friday. You have to go between 12 and 4. So I'm going to pick up my friend and she's going to help me unload. So I'm very glad. Whoops, I gotta mark what row I'm on. I know I can always count them. These rows are easy to count, but I like to keep track. Okay, somebody else has joined us. Welcome. We're in our first 20-minute segment. And I'm working on a polar bear. I did let's see if I could find them. I'm going to have, hopefully, if I get my video ready for this Friday, because I'm trying to do every other Friday now. I've got this little, I need to glue him because a little thing to hang from your car. He's a seagull because he's got the gray wings. He's a little seagull. And I'm going to go over my process of making him. I had a couple of adaptations to it from the original pattern. So that's him. And then I made one of my own designs, which I'll be doing my next video in October. We got Mr. Pickle on a swing. This is Petrov, the peeved pickle. And it's just a basic pickle design, but I gave him little legs and little hands. And I had never seen a pickle on a swing. So I thought I'm going to make one. And so we'll see if he does well if I sell him at the fair. He's a cutie. Maybe the next one I'll give a smile to instead of a snarl. Thank you, Fran. Luna, you can always come in. You don't have to stand there and whine. Of course, that's what she likes to do. Anybody else has a dog that's afraid of hardwood floors? Thanks, Lizzie. She just, now see my bedroom where she sleeps, it's hardwood floor and she walks on that, but it's bigger. I think she's afraid in here that she'll slippy slide around and it's not very spacious. She might bump into the wall or something. Bean is trying to finish your September sock along over the next couple of days, and then I'll start another one. Okay, a sock along. So are you knitting socks? Sounds like a knitting project. And I can never remember how many of you knit and crochet or how many of you just knit. I don't know if my sister's online or not. But, oh, I'm up to 105 subscribers. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate all the support. I know I told you about Holly. Finished the first one on my 4 of the second. Okay. Holly from Stitch is Gonna Stitch. I think we're going to do a live together on a Wednesday in December. So you won't want to miss that. We'll be chatting with her. And we've given each other shout outs before. So it'll be fun. She lives actually near Cleveland, Fran. I might try to see if maybe I can meet her in person over Thanksgiving if she can come down near Cincinnati. But yeah, I think we're going to have a live event in December. I need to iron out the details with her, but yeah, we'll be chatting and asking each other questions and so forth. And the questions I have written up, I have 5 questions for her, and I'm going to ask her if she wants to do like 5 for me. They have really nothing to do with crochet. They're just kind of fun, funny questions. So I think that'll be a good time. Where's my pen? I have too much junk in this room, that's for sure. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So yeah, so I'll let you know when we get that finalized what day that's going to be, and we're thinking December. Okay, folks, 3 minutes left, and then we have our little 5-minute break. All right. I could count the rows, but sometimes I don't trust my row counting. Let's see what I got here. And on this design, she doesn't count the magic ring as a row, so I always got to remember that. So it looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's what I got. All right, I got to go to 25, so I got a ways to go. If you know anybody else that would like to join us, I know Wednesday afternoons might be kind of hard for some people, but I'm trying to think. I've seen people do, there's a live going on Saturday morning with Mishi, and then I think she does a Sunday night one too. And I'm trying to think who else does lives. Gosh, who am I thinking of? Somebody throw out a name. Or who else does lives? Michael from MDL. I think he's back, isn't he? Oh, and Shannon from Shannon Talks Yarn. She hasn't been around for a while. I think she had surgery, so she's probably recovering. And Shannon and Sid do a once a month live. Sweet Pea Sid. They do a once a month live, but it's been about a month. They are overdue. But like I said, I think Shannon's recovering from a surgery that she has talked about. Okay. It seems like some weeks are like that. There's just a few of us. That's fine. Sometimes we've gotten up to, I think, 12. Oh, it don't matter. I'll talk to whoever was willing to listen. Whoever wants to chat. Trying to think what else has been going on here. I haven't really worked on my cardigan for about a week. I don't know. I can't remember if I showed you guys last week or not how far I'd gotten. It's my first cardigan, my first wearable I've made, as far as like a sweater, a cardigan or something. I've made hats and scarves and stuff, but this is, it's orange, and then a block of orange, a block of gold, yellow, and a block of red. So I've gotten the sweater part done, the band around the bottom done, and I started the ridge, the band of ribbing around the neck. I'm about halfway. So I still got to go down the other side, and I still have to do both the sleeves. So I was hoping to finish it by my birthday, which is on the 13th of this month, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I hope it does. After this market, I'm going to be working more on it. I don't know where, know if I'm going to be into wearables so much. They take so long. Because I would never sell. Oh, time's up. Okay, everybody, 5-minute break. Or you can keep crocheting if you like. I need a drink. Diet Dr. Pepper. I guess there are people, I got to pay more attention, but as far as selling their items at markets, but like I haven't noticed how much they charge for it, but I can't imagine you get back in material and definitely not time of what you put into it when you make a wearable and try to sell them, because it would be too much money. Now, I've seen booths with hats and scarves and pot holders and household things, and that's set up. But it just takes so long to make a sweater and curtain. Maybe it's just me, but because I'm so new at it. But I can't see me selling any. If I spend that long on something, I'm keeping it. That's my theory. Oh, gosh. So everybody take your break before we get started up again. Lizzie. Hey, I know it's nighttime over there. I think you said it was like 8. Is it like 8:30 over there at night? Or 9:30, and you're getting ready for bed. This is your wind down. I'm so glad that you're joining us for a wind down. And Bean, let's see. Do you have any other hobbies, Bean, besides crochet and knitting? I probably shouldn't be talking since everybody's on break. They're probably out of the room. Just working on my polar bear. I'm hoping next week to get, some more of my cardigan done. You know what? Maybe I'll take my cardigan with me to the vendor fair. Well, maybe not, because it's kind of hard to work on because it's so big and bulky. I feel like it's not just like one little thing that you can focus on. I probably won't take that. I'll probably just take a blanket or something easy to work on. Bean spins, embroiders, and cross stitch and tat. You did tell me that in your dyeing yarn. Yeah. Some beading and chainmail. Okay. You did tell me that. You are a crafty person. I have done almost all those things at one time, but, just kind of dabbled in it, except tat. I've never tried tatting or dyeing, but when I was a kid, I did latch-hook rugs, and then I did paint by number, and I did a little bit of embroidery. I did the thing where it's like yarn on a plastic canvas where you follow along there. I've done that. I'm just looking out my window. Somebody walking by. I can't think what else I've done, but I pick up a craft every now and then, but I think I'm sticking with crochet. It's been about 7 years now, so I don't see me taking up another hobby right now. But and I've sewn things. I have a sewing machine. I can do calligraphy. I used to scrapbook. Still got a lot of scrapbooking stuff. Luna. And Luna's birthday is this month too, a few days after mine. She's going to be 11. Yep. Aren't you? I hear her toenails clicking around. I'm not sure where she's at. The time here is not... I got to start the next 20 minutes. Okay, here we go. Second 20 minutes is up, and then we'll do our stretches after this. It's 9:30 there. Okay. When you start reading your book, I think I'm going for today. Okay. That's perfectly fine. I know you mentioned it was kind of hard to understand some of that old English, and I don't blame you because some of it's hard to read for me. So that's fine. Let's see here. 12. So anybody have any other news to chat about? I'm just trying to think back on what other crafty things I did as a kid. But it was nothing that was ever that I got into for more than like a year or so, and then just kind of dropped it, lost interest, and started something new. Well, I'm glad you joined us, Lizzie, for when you can. And I listen to sleep stories at night on the Calm app, and I really enjoy that. I generally fall asleep before, the last 5 minutes are over. Highly recommend the Calm app. Besides stories, they have music and meditations, and it's nice. Maybe I can get all these rows done on this bear today. Did some tiny sculptures out of the duct tape. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that made me think of duct tape used to be a thing when my daughter was in grade school, but you made it with wire and then put duct tape around wire. Oh, I've never heard of that. That's ingenious. Oh, I bet those were cute. Did you sell them? I just made them for fun. That sounds really cute. Oh, I wish you could send me a picture. If anybody ever wants to email me, my email address is feathersongglass. I can't change it to crochet, unfortunately. Feathersongglass, all one word, @gmail.com. Yeah, is my email. I would love to see some of that stuff. I have a nephew-in-law, who's an artist, and he does wire sculptures and really interesting, beautiful stuff. I'm going to finish this row, and I'm going to see if I can find one of his things on my phone. I can show you guys a picture. It won't show up as good, but his name is Jeremy and lives in Cincinnati. My niece's husband. And it's his side job, but they're really cool sculptures. Let me see if I can find one on my phone to show you. I made them for fun, your high school hobby. Okay. Let's see now, where are my photos? This might take a couple minutes. Lizzie, when you're going to sleep, you listen to stories from the Bible. Oh, yeah. Oh, me too. Me too. That's a good idea because I do have that YouVersion app. I think it's called YouVersion. And yes, you could put that on for somebody to read it, like man, woman, language, if you want them to have an accent, all kinds of things. That is relaxing. Oh, Jeremy, where is your wire sculpture? I'm back to 2022. Oh, here's one. Aha. I don't know if you can see. This is a peacock. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Kind of see it. But that he uses, I think, black wire. And that's kind of hard to see, but it's really cool. He does really cool stuff. Yeah, I love Bible stories too. And that would be, I should start listening to those because I think I've listened to all the, I like listening to men read. To me, that's more the lower voice is more calming. So when I do my sleep stories on my Calm app, I listen to men reading, and I love British men reading. That's my favorite. But yeah, I'm going to try that tonight. By golly, I'm going to try my YouVersion Bible and set that to a chapter. I'm assuming you can do like a chapter. Maybe I can do a couple chapters at a time because the stories I listen to are about 30 minutes long. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. Okay. Does anybody else have any favorite YouTubers that they like to watch? Small channel people that maybe we haven't heard of that you want to shout out? Oh, Sarah. Is Sarah on here from Fire Lake? I'm not sure if that's her or not, but I just recently found her. You guys know Sarah. She's here almost every week. I found her website. And guys, I'm telling you, my memory is going. She was doing, was doing an unboxing, and she got some of that Wonder yarn from Furls. It's beautiful. And she said Furls is discontinuing their yarn. I'm like, oh, I wanted to cry. I could not believe it. Their yarn is so nice. That's what when I did my giveaway, I gave away a skein of that Furls. Who won that? I think it was Annette in Michigan won that. But I'm really bummed. Well, so now it's like, well, I got to go on the website now and buy some yarn before they're all discontinued because a lot of the colors are, out of stock now. I guess they're bringing in something else, but I really like that Wonder crochet or Wonder yarn. Hold on. I've got, here's this color. Isn't that pretty? This dragon fruit. It looks brown on the screen, but it's got a real dark purplish tint to it. And they had some of these left. They had some of the dragon fruit left. I might have to buy, I think they had a 10-pack for $30. And these are, let's see how many yards they are. 120 yards, 109 meters. And it's 100% acrylic, and it's so soft. Oh, it's so soft. It's squishy. But I've got that color, and I've got a dark brown. That's another pretty color. Mahogany. I don't know if they had any mahogany left, but they did have some of that dragon fruit. The one I gave away was a pretty green color. Yeah, I mean, $3 a skein, that's not bad. You enjoy Leah Loves to Knit. She recently learned to crochet and cross stitch. Oh, Leah loves to knit. Okay. As usual, I'm going to write that down. And if I don't lose it, I'm going to look that up. So she usually does knitting, but she started crocheting now. Yeah, I bet that's fun. Okay, I have to check that one out. Yeah, I've told you guys about Holly from Stitch is Gonna Stitch. There's a lady named Bianca. I can't remember her last name. Santos, and she's in Finland. She makes amigurumi. Beautiful dolls. I mean, they look AI. They're so good. They look AI. And she has a lot of informative episodes about, like the last one she did, I just watched yesterday, was on washers, safety eye washers, the different kinds of backings, washers they have for safety eyes. And that was interesting. So she talks about things that's like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about talking about that. So she's very knowledgeable. She's fun to watch. And she's originally from Brazil, but lives in Finland now. And I think she has a book out of amigurumi dolls. I think she has a book. So I'd like to get more into making dolls. Dolls are so much more detailed than just regular amigurumi animals, I think. Let me check the time. We got 10 minutes left before we do our stretches. was I doing? I'm going to count again, make sure I've got the right, I'm on the right count. Okay. I also follow Botanical Yarn. They're a shop and a dye studio in the UK. Botanical Yarn. Oh, and Fran likes Judy's Creation and Crochet. Ooh. Oh, fun. I like discovering new channels. Let's see. Judy's Creation and Crochet. And what's one that beans in Botanical Yarn? Okay. Oh, another one I like is Lucy Kate Crochets. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. She's in Britain, and she's a riot. She's just so funny. She's just kind of naturally funny, and she goes over different tips, amigurumi tips, and just talks about all kinds of stuff. But yeah, her name's Lucy Kate. I think it's called Lucy Kate Crochets. I enjoy her. Accent, I do it. Or really any accent, but the British accent is just so soothing for some reason to me. Judy's Creation and Crochet. Okay. There are still a couple of big time YouTubers I watch, but not too many. I'd rather discover new small channels and support them. Oh, I'm flying through this yarn. I thought I had a whole skein of that pink and was hoping that was enough, and it was. But it was a Honey Bunny yarn, not Premier Parfait Chunky, which is what this is. And this I use a size 6 needle, 6.0 needle. And with the Honey Bunny, I use my 5 needle hook. Listen to me. And I had plenty of yarn. I like Honey Bunny's yarn. It reminds me of Bernat Blanket. It's real dense like that, and it does not shed at all. I love Honey Bunny for that reason. But I like the Premier Parfait Chunky for, I think it's a little bit softer. It's more, maybe not delicate, but I don't know. It's just put together more finely or something, whereas the Honey Bunny is sturdy. It's just more sturdy or something. I don't know. I thought about ordering some more Honey Bunny because, oh my God, doing a magic ring with this Premier Parfait Chunky is a nightmare. It sheds horribly, and it'll get stuck, and you have to undo it and do like a couple at a time before you can get your magic ring. That drives me crazy. But once you get past that, it's pretty good, and it frogs okay. But it definitely does shed. So I'm thinking when I get through with this, it's going to be a little bit bigger than the Pink Bear. Just a little bit, because it's, a different yarn, different hook, but that's okay. I think she will understand. 5 minutes. Everybody working. When I'm reading, I expect everybody to be work while I'm reading. Whoops, I got to mark off that row. Well, I am so glad I'm getting this done. After this, I made just today I made a little rubber ducky. I can't remember who it's by, but I have the written pattern. It's a little rubber ducky, and I had a mallard. I was going through my inventory yesterday, and it's like, okay, I have a mallard ducky. I don't have any little yellow rubber duckies. Like, come on. So I made one of those. I'll probably stitch out another one pretty quick here, or I have to figure out what I can be working on at the market. I can't decide whether to work on a blanket for a friend of mine who's coming in a couple weeks. I told her I'd work on that for her. I think I've showed that to you guys. It's a multicolored roving yarn, which I got donated to me. I got it through a friend of mine. Her grandmother had died, and some of the yarn she gave me was a little bit smoky smelling, but this, what she gave me, was not. And it's a Red Heart brand, but it was real soft, and it was that roving that gets real thick and then real thin, back and forth, which I'm not crazy about. But the colorway was beautiful. It kind of looked like a peacock with the blues and greens and pinks and golds. So I'd like to finish that for when she comes, when her and her daughter come in a couple weeks. I've got a lot of WIPs in progress. I'm sure you guys do too. Seems like there's always something to work on. But after this craft fair on Saturday, I won't be as stressed. I actually woke up yesterday morning and my left thumb was just killing me. And I know it was because of that. I know what I want to tell you. This yarn, it's a Premier yarn, but it's called Cotton Fair. It's half cotton, half acrylic, but it feels like it's hard. It's soft, but it's hard to work with. It's very durable, I call it, because it's not stiff. It's soft, but it's hard to work with. It's a size 5 yarn. And I'm making a ghost. I'm making a ghost for the vendor fair. And I thought, I'm most of the way done with. I got to finish it, but it's so hard on my hands. Let's see. The landscapes colorways are gorgeous. Oh, Bean, are you talking about the Red Heart? There's a Red Heart line called Landscapes. I don't know if I've seen that. It might be. I don't think it's called Landscapes. But actually, I think I have it right here behind me. Let me check. My WIP bags. So here's the blanket, and the yarn is called, it's Red Heart Unforgettable. I don't think they make this anymore. So yeah, it's soft and silky and very what's it called, that when it has like a halo, very fuzzy. It's got a halo to it. But it's really pretty. I love the colors. And my friend Sue said, because I was just going to donate it or something. She's like, I'll take it. I'm like, okay, you can have it for your birthday or whatever. Since her birthday is next month. So that's that. But yeah, I had never heard of that brand, and other people said they had never heard of it either. But so it must be fairly old. Oh gosh, did I mark that row? Let me see. Oh gosh, less than a minute, folks. Boy, this time is going by so quick. Like I said, if you know anybody else you can invite to, we have more. I feel like I'm doing all the talking sometimes. I guess that's just how it is, which is okay. But I like when you guys, and you do, Fran, you have heard of that, and you have some? Do they still make it? Because I'm almost thinking I might have to buy another skein of it. But I thought, it seems like I looked it up and I couldn't find it. So is the Unforgettable, is that line, all those, like, is it a bunch of different variegated colors like that? Oh, there we are. Okay, time to stretch. Okay, we are going to focus on shoulders today because honestly, we use our shoulders so much. We did some distal, we did hand and wrist last week. And I think we did neck the week before that. So let's do some shoulder ones. Fran doesn't have any, but you've used it. You made a shawl with it. Oh, I bet that was pretty. Okay, everybody ready? Clasp your hands together, put them behind your neck, and stretch them back. Try to touch your elbows behind you. Well, you won't be able to do it, but try stretch it out. This is external rotation of the shoulder. You could feel it like right here and a little bit under your arm in the back. So stretch that. And then the opposite of that is internal rotation. So hands on your hips or like you're tucking in your pants, tucking in your shirt in the back, and then stretch your shoulders back like you're pinching your shoulder blades together. That's internal rotation. And then external rotation, push. And then internal. Stretch them back. Oh. Sit up straight. Stretch them back. Okay, the next one is protraction and retraction. So protraction is of your scapula. You're just reaching out. Hello. Stretch. And then bring them back. This retracting your scapula muscles. You're pulling them in together. Using that muscle to pull them in and hold them back. Use your arm rests if you need to. And stretch and hold. So I'm kind of doing this kind of thing here. If you could see that. Where you're trying to touch your elbows behind you. Hold. Good. One more time. Out and reach. Reach straight out. Feel it in your back. Feel it in your shoulders. Oh, and then retract. Bring them back together. Yeah. Stretch. Oh, that's a good one. Across the front of your chest, you can feel that. Okay, next one is extension, or excuse me, flexion. Shoulder flexion is way up. Stretch. Get it up there. You can clasp your hands if you need to, or if you can't, I need to because my arm will drop. And then shoulder extension is just reaching, keeping your elbows straight. Let me turn this way. And reaching back. That's extension. So reach and hold it. Hold it. Feel it up here. Okay. Again, up. Reach up as high as you can. Reach for the sky. Reach for the stars. Stretch. And then extend. Way back. Good. Whew, okay. Let's see. The other one is, circumduction. Let's do some circumduction of the shoulder, which is basically just doing circles, shoulder circles. And this is more of instead of a stretch, it's more of a muscular workout. And then go the other way. Oh, yeah, you can feel those muscles work doing that. Ooh, that's a hard one. Okay, a couple shoulder rolls. Ooh. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Now let's do a side stretch. Another good stretch. Here, feel it pulling down your side of your arm, down your tricep. That's a good one. And then the other side, way over. You could pull on it a little bit too if you want to. If you want to give it more of a stretch, you can really feel that down the back of your arm. Let's do one more this way. Yeah, one more this way. And one more this way. Oh, good. Oh, that feels nice. Wonderful. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Okay, I'm going to get comfy. And last 20-minute session, here we go. Set the alarm. Where'd my alarm go? 20 minutes. Okay. There we are. You can feel those. Okay, good. Yep. Good to stretch those shoulders. All right. We're on chapter 9, Sense and Sensibility. Here we go. Let's see what the Dashwoods are up to this week. Chapter 9. The Dashwoods were now settled at Barton with tolerable comfort to themselves. The house and the garden, with all the objects surrounding them, had now become familiar, and the ordinary pursuits, which had given to Norland half its charms, were engaged in again with far greater enjoyment than Norland had been able to afford since the loss of their father. Sir John Middleton, who called on them every day for the first fortnight, and who was not in the habit of seeing much occupation at home, could not conceal his amazement on finding them always employed. Their visitors, except those from Barton Park, were not many, for in spite of Sir John's urgent entreaties that they would mix more in the neighborhood and repeated assurances of his carriage being always at their service, the independence of Mrs. Dashwood's spirit overcame the wish of society for her children, and she was resolute in declining to visit any family beyond the distance of a walk. There were but few who could be so classed, and it was not all of them that were attainable. About 1.5 miles from the cottage, along the narrow winding alley of Allenham, which issued from that of Barton, as formerly described, the girls had, in one of their earliest walks, discovered an ancient, respectable-looking mansion, which, by reminding them a little of Norland, interested their imagination and made them wish to be better acquainted with it. But they learnt on inquiry that its possessor, an elderly lady of very good character, was unfortunately too infirm to mix with the world and never stirred from home. The whole country about them abounded in beautiful walks. The high downs, which invited them from almost every window of the cottage to seek the exquisite enjoyment of air on their summits, were a happy alternative when the dirt of the valleys beneath shut up their superior beauties, and towards one of these hills did Marianne and Margaret one memorable morning direct their steps, attracted by the partial sunshine of a showery sky, and unable to longer bear the confinement which the settled rain of the 2 preceding days had occasioned. The weather was not tempting enough to draw the 2 others from their pencil and their book, in spite of Marianne's declaration that the day would be lastingly fair, and that every threatening cloud would be drawn off from their hills. The 2 girls set off together. They gaily ascended the downs, rejoicing in their own penetration at every glimpse of the blue sky, and when they caught in their faces the animating gales of a high southwesterly wind, they pitied the fears which had prevented their mother and Eleanor from sharing such delightful sensations. "Is there a felicity in the world," said Marianne, "superior to this? Margaret, we will walk here at least 2 hours." Margaret agreed, and they pursued their way against the wind, resisting it with laughing delight for about 20 minutes longer, when suddenly the clouds united over their heads and a driving rain set full in their face. Chagrined and surprised, they were obliged, though unwilling, to turn back, for no shelter was nearer than their own home. One consolation, however, remained for them, to which the exigence of all the moment gave more than usual propriety. It was that of running with all possible speed down the steep side of the hill, which led immediately to their garden gate. They set off. Marianne had at first the advantage, but a false step brought her suddenly to the ground, and Margaret, unable to stop herself to assist her, was involuntarily hurried along and reached the bottom in safety. A gentleman carrying a gun, with 2 pointers playing round him, was passing up the hill and within a few yards of Marianne when her accident happened. He put down his gun and ran to her assistance. She had raised herself from the ground, but her foot had been twisted in the fall, and she was scarcely able to stand. The gentleman offered his services, and perceiving that her modesty declined what her situation rendered necessary, took her up in his arms without further delay and carried her down the hill. Then, passing through the garden, the gate of which had been left open by Margaret, he bore her directly into the house, where Margaret had just arrived, and quitted not his hold till he had seated her in a chair in the parlor. Eleanor and the mother rose up in amazement at their entrance, and while the eyes of both were fixed on him with an evident wonder and a secret admiration which equally sprung from his appearance, he apologized for his intrusion by relating its cause in a manner so frank and so graceful that his person, which was uncommonly handsome, received additional charms from his voice and expression. Had he been even old, ugly, and vulgar, the gratitude and kindness of Mrs. Dashwood would have been secured by any act of attention to her child. but the influence of youth, beauty, and elegance gave an interest to the action which came home to her feelings. She thanked him again and again, and with a sweetness of address which always attended her, invited him to be seated. But this he declined, as he was dirty and wet, and Mrs. Dashwood then begged to know to whom she was obliged. His name, he replied, was Willoughby, and his present home was at Allenham, from whence he hoped she would allow him the honor of calling tomorrow to inquire after Miss Dashwood. The honor was readily granted, and he then departed to make himself still more interesting in the midst of a heavy rain. His manly beauty and more than common gracefulness were instantly the theme of general admiration, and the laugh which his gallantry raised against Marianne received particular spirit from his exterior attractions. Marianne herself had seen less of this person than the rest, for the confusion which crimsoned over her face on his lifting her up had robbed her of the power of regarding him after their entering the house. But she had seen enough of him to join in all the admiration of the others, and with an energy which always adorned her praise, his person and air were equal to what her fancy had ever drawn for the hero of a favorite story. And in his carrying her into the house with so little previous formality, there was a rapidity of thought which particularly recommended the action to her. Every circumstance belonging to him was interesting. His name was good, his residence was in their favorite village, and she soon found out that of all manly dresses, a shooting jacket was the most becoming. Her imagination was busy, her reflections were pleasant, and the pain of sprained ankle was disregarded. Sir John called on them as soon as the next interval of fair weather that morning allowed him to get out of doors, and Marianne's accident being related to him, he was eagerly asked whether he knew any gentleman of the name of Willoughby at Allenham. "Oh, Willoughby!" cried Sir John. "What, is he in the country? Oh, that is good news. However, I will ride over tomorrow and ask him to dinner on Thursday." "You know him, then?" said Mrs. Dashwood. "Oh, know him, to be sure I do. Why, he is down here every year." "And what sort of young man is he?" As good a kind of fellow as ever lived, I assure you. A very decent shot, and there's not a bolder rider in England." "Is that all you can say for him?" cried Marianne indignantly. "But what are his manners on more intimate acquaintance? What are his pursuits, his talents, his genius?" Sir John was rather puzzled. "Upon my soul," said he, "I do not know much about him as to all that, but he is a pleasant, good-humored fellow, and he has got the nicest little black bitch of a pointer I ever saw. Was she out with him today?" But Marianne could no more satisfy him as to the color of Mr. Willoughby's pointer than he could describe to her the shades of his mind. "But who is he?" said Eleanor. "Where does he come from? Has he a house at Allenham?" On this point Sir John could give more certain intelligence, and he told them that Mr. Willoughby had no property of his own in the country, that he resided there only while he was visiting the old lady at Allenham Court, to whom he was related, and whose possessions he was to inherit, adding, yes, he is very well worth catching. I can tell you, Miss Dashwood, he has a pretty little estate of his own in Somersetshire besides, and if I were you, I would not give him up to my younger sister, in spite of all this tumbling down hills. Miss Marianne must not expect to have all the men to herself. Brandon will be jealous if she does not take care." "I do not believe," said Mrs. Dashwood, with a good-humored smile, "that Mr. Willoughby will be incommoded by the attempts of either of my daughters toward what you call catching him. It is not an employment to which they have been brought up. Men are very safe with us, let them be ever so rich. I am glad to find, however, from what you say, that he is a respectable young man, and one whose acquaintance will not be ineligible." "He is as good a sort of fellow, I believe, as ever lived," repeated Sir John. "I remember last Christmas, at a little hop at the park, he danced from 8 o'clock until 4, without once sitting down." "Did he indeed?" cried Marianne with sparkling eyes. "And with elegance and spirit?" "Oh, yes," said Sir John. "He was up again at 8 to ride to covert. That is what I like. That is what a young man ought to be. Whatever be his pursuits, his eagerness in them should know no moderation, and leave him no sense of fatigue." I see how it will be," said Sir John. "I see how it will be. You will be setting your cap at him now, and never think of poor Brandon." "That is an expression, Sir John," said Marianne warmly, "which I particularly dislike. I abhor every commonplace phrase by which wit is intended, and setting one's cap at a man or making a conquest are the most odious of all. Their tendency is gross and illiberal, and if their construction could ever be deemed clever, time has long ago destroyed all its ingenuity. Sir John did not much understand this reproof, but he laughed as heartily as if he did, and then he replied, "Aye, you will make conquests enough, I dare say, one way or the other. Poor Brandon, he was quite smitten already, and he is very well worth setting your cap at, I can tell you, in spite of all this tumbling about and spraining of ankles." Okay, do we have time for one more chapter? Yes, okay, chapter 10. Okay. Marianne's preserver, as Margaret, with more elegance than precision, styled Willoughby, called at the cottage early the next morning to make his personal inquiries. He was received by Mrs. Dashwood with more than politeness, with a kindness which Sir John's account of him and her own gratitude prompted, and everything that passed during the visit tended to assure him of the sense, elegance, mutual affection, and domestic comfort of the family to whom accident had now introduced him. Of their personal charms he had not required a second interview to be convinced. Miss Dashwood had a delicate complexion, regular features, and a remarkably pretty figure. Marianne was still handsomer. Her form, though not as correct as her sister's, and having the advantage of height, was more striking, and her face was so lovely that when in the common cant of praise she was called a beautiful girl, truth was less violently outraged than usually happens. Her skin was very brown, but from its transparency her complexion was uncommonly brilliant. Her features were all good, her smile was sweet and attractive, and in her eyes, which were very dark, there was a life, a spirit, and eagerness which could hardly be seen without delight. From Willoughby their expression was at first held back by the embarrassment which the remembrance of assistance created. But when this passed, when her spirits became collected, when she saw that to the perfect good breeding of this gentleman he united frankness and vivacity, and above all, when she heard him declare that of music and dancing he was passionately fond, she gave him such a look of approbation as secured to the largest share of a discourse to herself for the rest of his stay. It was only necessary to mention any favorite amusement to engage her to talk. She could not be silent when such points were introduced, and she had neither shyness nor reserve in their discussion. They speedily discovered that their enjoyment of dancing and music was mutual, and that it arose from a general conformity of judgment in all that related to either. Encouraged by this to a further examination of his opinions, she proceeded to question him on the subject of books. Her favorite authors were brought forward and dwelt upon with so rapturous a delight that any young man of 25 must have been insensible indeed not to become an immediate convert to the excellence of such works, however disregarded before. Their taste was strikingly alike. The same books, the same passages were idolized by each, or if any difference appeared, any objection arose, it lasted no longer than till the force of her arguments and the brightness of her eyes could be displayed. He acquiesced in all her decisions, caught all her enthusiasm, and long before his visit concluded, they conversed with the familiarity of a long-established acquaintance. "Well, Marianne," said Eleanor, as soon as he had left them, "for one morning, I think you have done pretty well. You have already ascertained Mr. Willoughby's opinion in almost every matter of importance. You know what he thinks of Cowper and Scott. You are certain of his estimating their beauties as he ought, and you have received every assurance of his admiring Pope no more than is proper. But how is your acquaintance to be long supported under such extraordinary dispatch of every subject for discourse? You will soon have exhausted each favorite topic. Another meeting will suffice to explain his sentiments on picturesque beauty and second marriages, and then you could have nothing farther to ask." "Eleanor," cried Marianne, "is this fair? Is this just? Are my ideas so scanty? But I see what you mean. I have been too much at my ease, too happy, too frank. I have erred against every commonplace notion of decorum. I've been open and sincere where I ought to have been reserved, spiritless, dull, and deceitful. Had I talked only of the weather and the roads, and had I spoken only once in 10 minutes, this reproach would have been spared." "My love," said her mother, "you must not be offended with Eleanor. She was only in jest. I should scold her myself if she were capable of wishing to check the delight of your conversation with our new friend." Marianne was softened in a moment. Willoughby, on his side, gave every proof of his pleasure in their acquaintance, which an evident wish of improving it could offer. He came to them every day to inquire if Marianne was at first his excuse. But the encouragement of his reception, to which every day gave greater kindness, made such an excuse unnecessary before it had ceased to be possible by Marianne's perfect recovery. She was confined for some days to the house, but never had any confinement been less irksome. Willoughby was a young man of good abilities, quick imagination, lively spirits, and open, affectionate manners. He was exactly formed to engage Marianne's heart, for with all this he joined not only a captivating person, but a natural ardor of mind, which now was roused and increased by the example of her own, and which recommended him to her affection beyond everything else. His society became gradually her most exquisite enjoyment. They read, they talked, they sang together. His musical talents were considerable, and he read with all the sensibility and spirit which Edward had unfortunately wanted. In Mrs. Dashwood's estimation, he was as faultless as in Marianne's, and Elinor saw nothing to censure in him but a propensity, in which he strongly resembled and peculiarly delighted her sister, of saying too much what he thought on every occasion, without attention to persons or circumstances. In hastily forming and giving his opinion of other people, in sacrificing general politeness to the enjoyment of undivided attention where his heart was engaged, and in slighting too easily the forms of worldly propriety, he displayed a want of caution, which Elinor could not approve, in spite of all that he and Marianne could say in its support. Marianne began now to perceive that the desperation which had seized her at 16 and a half of ever seeing a man who could satisfy her ideas of perfection had been rash and unjustifiable. Willoughby was all that her fancy had delineated in that unhappy hour and at every brighter period, as capable of attaching her, and this behavior declared his wishes to be in that respect as earnest, and his abilities were strong. Her mother, too, in whose mind not one speculative thought of their marriage had been raised, by his prospect of riches, was led before the end of a week to hope and expect it, and secretly to congratulate herself on having gained two such son-in-laws as Edward and Willoughby. Within a week? Oh my gosh. Okay, Colonel Brandon's partiality for Marianne, which had so early been discovered by his friends, now first became perceptible to Elinor when it ceased to be noticed by them. Their attention and wit were drawn off to his more fortunate rival, and the raillery which the other had incurred before any partiality arose was removed when his feelings began really to call for the ridicule so justly annexed to sensibility. Elinor was obliged, though unwillingly, to believe that the sentiments which Mrs. Jennings had assigned him for her own satisfaction were now actually excited by her sister, and that however a general resemblance of disposition between the parties might forward the affection of Mr. Willoughby, an equally striking opposition of character was no hindrance to the regard of Colonel Brandon. She saw it with concern, for what could a silent man of 35 hope when opposed by a very lively one of 25? And as she could not even wish him successful, she heartily wished him indifferent. She liked him in spite of his gravity and reserve. She beheld in him an object of interest. His manners, though serious, were mild, and his reserve appeared rather the result of some oppression of spirits than of any unnatural gloominess of temper. Sir John had dropped hints of past injuries and disappointments, which justified her belief in his being an unfortunate man, and she regarded him with respect and compassion. Perhaps she pitied and esteemed him the more because he was slighted by Willoughby and Marianne, who, prejudiced against him for being neither lively nor young, seemed resolved to undervalue his merits. Brandon is just the kind of man, said Willoughby one day when they were talking of him together, whom everybody speaks well of and nobody cares about, whom all are delighted to see and nobody remembers to talk to. Oh, that is exactly what I think of him, cried Marianne. Do not boast of it, however, said Elinor, for it is injustice in both of you. He is highly esteemed by all the family at the park, and I never see him myself without taking pains to converse with him. That he is patronized by you, replied Willoughby, is certainly in his favor. But as for the esteem of the others, it is a reproach in itself. Who would submit to the indignity of being approved by such women as Lady Middleton and Mrs. Jennings that could command the indifference of anybody else? But oh, shoot. Okay, this chapter's almost over. Shall I continue? Okay, but perhaps the abuse of such people as yourself and Marianne will make amends to the regard of Lady Middleton and her mother. If their praise is censure, your censure may be praise, for they are not more undiscerning than you are prejudiced and unjust. In defense of your protege, you can be very saucy. My protege, as you call him, is a sensible man, and sense will always have attractions for me. Yes, Marianne, even in a man between 30 and 40. He has seen a great deal of the world. He has been abroad, he has read, has a thinking mind, and I have found him capable of giving me much information on various subjects, and he has always answered my inquiries with the readiness of good breeding and good nature. Almost done. That is to say, cried Marianne contemptuously, that he has told you that in the East Indies the climate is hot and the mosquitoes are troublesome. He would have told me so, I doubt not, had I made any such inquiries, but they happened to be the points on which I had previously been informed. Perhaps, said Willoughby, his observations may have extended to the existence of nabobs, goldmoors, and palanquins. I may venture to say that his observations have stretched much farther than your candor, but why should you dislike him? I do not dislike him, said Willoughby. I consider him, on the contrary, a very respectable man who has everybody's good word and nobody's notice, who has more money than he could spend, more time than he knows how to employ, and 2 new coats every year. Add to which, cried Marianne, that he has neither genius, taste, nor spirit, that his understanding has no brilliancy, his feelings no ardor, and his voice no expression. You decide on his imperfections so much in the mass, replied Eleanor, and so much on the strength of your own imagination, that the commendation I'm able to give of him is comparatively cold and insipid. I can only pronounce him to be a sensible man, well-bred, well-informed, of gentle address, and I believe possessing an amiable heart. Miss Dashwood, cried Willoughby, you are now using me unkindly. You are endeavoring to disarm me and to convince me against my will, but it will not do. You should not find me as stubborn as you can be artful. I have 3 unanswerable reasons for disliking Colonel Brandon. He has threatened me with rain when I wanted it to be fine. He has found fault with my hanging of my curricle, and I cannot persuade him to buy my brown mare. If it will be any satisfaction to you, however, to be told that I believe his character to be in other respects irreproachable, I'm ready to confess it. And in return for an acknowledgment which must give me some pain, you cannot deny me the privilege of disliking him as much as ever. Okay, I think Willoughby knows that Colonel Brandon likes Marianne. So that's all I got to say about that. So thank you for sticking with me, everybody. Oh, bye, Lizzie. I guess she's already gone. And thank you, Fran and Bean, for sticking around. I surely appreciate it. And I hope you had a good time, got some of your WIPs done and some work done on your crocheting. So next Wednesday, same time, same channel. And I will see you all then. I'm hoping to have an episode out this Friday. So thank you so much. See you next week. Bye-bye.